during my last year of high school, I went in, and that would have been in probably April of '44. So I didn't see any real combat or anything of that nature. That's why I sort of always feel a little bit, well, I don't know how to say it, but it's one of the things. People see me wearing my World War II hat, and of course they figure you've seen a lot of things, and I never saw anything that way. I had a few scares with the submarine because they were still pretty active in the Atlantic, and all my water work was in the Atlantic Ocean. We did get up into the northern part of the Atlantic, and then it was mostly England, down around the Canaries, and into Gitmo many times. We were the largest ship that ever went into Havana Harbor. That was an interesting item. I guess that was in '46. Maybe it was '47. Of course, the aircraft carrier I was on, the Princeton, was about, it was an Essex class carrier, which was at that time the larger of all the aircraft carriers. And it was the fourth Princeton. I was a fireman. So a fireman per se, we were below decks, and we took care of the boilers and the steam to make everything run from a boat standpoint. And my battle station was Smoke Watch, which was underneath the radar screens. I had the luxury of being the highest man on the ship. I was about 90 feet off the flight deck underneath the radar screen. Carrier was like a big city. You had everything and anything that you needed or wanted was there. We only had about around 3,200 as a full complement of men. Wartime, in the Pacific, it housed over 5,000 people. We had 100 and I'm not sure. We had F-4Us, F-4Fs, Corsairs. These were dive bombers and pursuit planes. When she went into the Pacific, they increased that by another air group. They brought a Marine air group on board, as well as the Navy, and we had a going competition. Gunnery division on the carrier, we had part Navy, part Marines. One of the F-4Us was landing and evidently pulled the tail hook out of the plane. So the plane, as it came across the deck, in other words, the hook would catch the tail of the plane and it would roll up the deck, stop, they would release it, and then they could move the plane anywhere else on the boat. This time the plane lost the hook, and she came across, hit the island of the carrier, and sort of climbed up a gun mount right where I was. So I had parts of Corsair in the platform where I was at my station, And that was the closest thing I ever had. But it was one of those things. I had an enviable position, being stationed up in front of the stack, looking backwards. But unless we had something going on, like flight, landing or taking off, those kinds of activities. And I was way up above. In fact, it was strange of looking down from where I was. You see a plane flying by, and you were looking down at the plane.